Hello, everybody. My name's DM Craig.
I'm Silver.
I'm Dalhis.
And I'm Lucia.
And welcome back to Valaclaci. So last time when we all last saw each other here,
story time.
You guys
got story time.
Yes, you guys got story time.
You mean exposition?
Yes, Dr. Exposition was in this one, or Basil Exposition as well.
And we got sexy nurses.
Even though
mine was a child.
All of you basically woke up and you're in the same type of room. You're in 3 separate rooms, but you all woke up in the same carbon copy of a room. And this ends up being Lucia's hometown. And Lucia, who's the first person you see when you wake up?
Dumbledore. I mean, Ander. Basically my dad. My father figure. Yes.
So Ander comes in, and then you guys hug, you guys go off, and you guys talk a little bit, kind of catch up. She's able to tell the story of the 3 of you, what you've done, and this brings up concerns to him. And after coming back in and seeing some weird pawing from the halfling to the massive dragon laying on a bed, he brings you guys over a couple days later when you guys feel a little bit better. You guys still aren't good. You guys feel a little bit better, and he kind of explains everything behind this church, the Church of Apollo, or explains a lot of it, you guys, and how it sort of interconnects and how Silver's background is tied to the god of Apollo, basically, in some way. And so right at the very end, he was able to kind of finish up having the conversation, and he kind of tells you that this church, the Church of Apollo, his servants are the ones that were tasked with training and becoming the warriors against Sithari, his evil god twin, basically, in the fight for good and evil. And we find out the Sithari was cast out at a young age, raised by Ithrandat, which is the leader of the Valaclaci, which is the group that captured Silver when he was a young child, and had him for so long. So it's kind of all interconnecting back there. And then he let everybody know, yep, we're the ones that are fighting. And we haven't heard from anything from the Valaclaci. We haven't heard from either Apollo or Sithari for almost over 1,000 years now. And until today, this is the first time that he has heard, the church has heard anything about the Valaclaci. Just now, talking to Silver and kind of getting confirmation that no, they're back. So we'll pick back up right here, and he kind of just lets you know, hey, we have not heard a thing for over 1,000 years till right now. And then he kind of looks at you guys and gives you the impression like he's open for questions if anybody has them.
I look at him and I go, sorry, sir, but I'm a bit confused. Is your name Ander or Andy? It's confusing me.
He smiles and gives a wink to Silver, and he goes, you know what? Whichever one works best for you.
Okay, thank you.
Silver at this point, he's got a serious face on, because we're talking about some of his past, so he's more focused up at this point. So he says, "So your guys' job has been to be on the lookout for any of these misdeeds, and they've managed to build a fortress without you guys knowing it. How could that be? And where are your warriors? I can give you the directions if you need it."
He gives a knowing smile, and you can tell it's not pretentious or anything. Silver, you don't even have to roll. You can tell it's a genuine smile.
Okay.
And he tells you, that's the biggest problem, is we are unsure why. We have always had a system in place to know when the Valaclaci are kicking around, or I can't remember, I don't know what term he uses. When they start their activities back up, we have always been able to pick up when they have started these things, and it hasn't happened this time. But we have, based on the account of what I've heard from Lucia about your life, Silver, it's started back up, and this is of grave concern of why this has not come to our attention. As you may have already noticed, we have the ability to have ways of alerting ourselves when things are happening. When any of you touched your feet on the floor after healing up, all of you had a nurse or someone, I say nurse, had someone come in and check on you immediately when you were starting to get back up. We have similar types of magic. And then this, I don't know if this is pretty much any of the first times or one of the few times that you've heard someone else discuss having magic. For all three of you, you guys know about each other and the types of things you've done. You know, you guys both know about Silver's magic and how he's a sorcerer. You guys have maybe discussed Dalhis's bloodline being magic. You guys know that the magic from Lucia is from her god, so it's not like she's exactly doing the magic herself. She's channeling the magic through a divine source. But he just told you guys that there's magic in this world and they control it in some way, or they have the ability to use it. He said we have magic set up for this, and we don't know why it did not alert like it has for thousands of years before now.
Well, while I appreciate that it didn't work, is there any chance that I could direct you to them and you guys could just go take care of this situation?
You could direct us, but with Apollo being gone for so long and not touching base with us, Lucia is one of the first to bestow his power in hundreds of years. That's the only reason we know that he's still alive, is that we still get his soldiers come through, people that wield his power. And Lucia is one of the first instruments of Apollo that's come by in hundreds of years. She's the only one that has the ability to fight this. The rest of us are just as any other person walking up there. And as you have seen, because I'm assuming you guys maybe have walked around a little bit in the days leading up to this, you guys were trying to rest and heal, but you haven't seen a bunch of new faces. This has been the same set of maybe 10, 15 people that you've seen this whole time. And Silver, you said you look over people when you see them.
Right.
None of them seemed like fighters to you. Maybe a couple people looked like they could handle their own, but nothing that you thought would even... You might get a challenge out of one or two of them, but it wouldn't have been you still would have won. Like, you're almost 90% sure you would have won every fight with anybody that you saw here. She's the first, and so he goes back to talking. She's the first that's come up in hundreds of years. We do not have the manpower. We thought maybe that the gods had killed themselves in their battle, because that was the last we knew. Was Apollo went to Cithari's base in the ethereal plane, and they had battled. It is written down in records. We felt the trembles of the earth when all of this happened, and it's been silent since. Only with a couple dwindling numbers of the instruments of Apollo coming through to our world, it has not been good. We thought that maybe in the last 100 years things had ended, so we don't have the manpower to go fight this battle right now.
Do you have allies maybe in different areas? Are there other churches of Apollo that we can recruit from?
There isn't. That is one of the main problems, is with the dwindling of the gods. With Apollo being gone so long, his faith has shrunken. The people that used to be able to come here and worship or go to any of the churches of Apollo around the world, they're not there anymore. The people aren't coming. They have found new gods. They are worshiping this new pantheon that has arose from the vacuum of power that used to be in the heavens. Everything's disappeared, and this is why we thought maybe things had just gone away. We didn't know if there was a victory or a defeat, but we've been diligent on making sure that that we've been looking for the signs to let us know that the Valaclaci were back. But obviously something's changed. But we
Silver
know
looks back and forth nervously at his teammates, hoping that they will give him a sign.
Dalhis, or not Dalhis. I'm not Dalhis. Lucia looks at Ander and shit. I'm trying to find the name from before.
Is it one of the names I said?
Yeah, the goddess that they worshipped in that church we were at.
Gosh,
Harvest goddess.
Shanty.
Yeah, Shantae.
Yes,
Shantae.
thank you.
Thank you.
So she kind of looks up and looks at Ander and asks if Shantae is one of the new gods.
Yes, Shantae is one of the new gods. Almost all of the gods are new gods comparatively to Apollo. From what we can tell, the creation of gods this way, the gods being born from other gods, they are more powerful than any of the gods created by faith. So we know that the gods created by faith will come and go, but on a long time scale, we don't know the power, the limit of anything of these gods born from two other gods. Shantae is a faith that was grown into existence, not born. Or a god grown into existence and born, not faith, sorry.
All right, well, I'm going to sum this up. These bastards have my brother. I want to get them.
Sorry, really quickly before Dalhis goes into his amazing brother speech. Lucia, when she hears this, she's actually going to quickly stand up and with tears in her eyes, she's actually going to leave the room.
He looks at her concerned, but does not chase after her. So do you have the ability to move your...
Shit, I don't know where I put that.
I'll actually reveal the whole area for you guys. I'll assume that you guys have
No, she's got it.
searched around a little bit. Ignore
We're
the
good.
nurses that I moved off stage. They're still off stage. You didn't see them.
Went this way.
Come back here, halfling.
All right, so it's
Okay.
you two.
And then now, Dalhis, go ahead and do your brother thing. I want to hear this.
Well, my speech is ruined now. Well, Silver, we're going to put some man in those bones, and I don't think we can take them ourselves, but we have the Apollo god with us, and they have my brother. We need to get powerful.
He looks concerned over at you, Dallas, and he goes, and that is the other concerning portion, is that not only did they have Silver for so many years, they now have a dragonborn with magic in his blood, and we don't know why. We don't know what they're doing. They have always been the ones that have done unspeakable things with magic to try and learn new things, but we don't know why they've started kidnapping. They've never kidnapped before, and we know that it can't be a good thing. And we're wondering if that has a connection with why we haven't been able to tell they're
back.
That they're back. Yes, thank you.
All right. So Silver stands up. Here's the deal, Andy. I got 3 questions. They're all very important. I need them answered in this exact order. Number 1, what aid can you give us, aside from saving our lives, of course, that could help us on our journey? Because my buddy here is missing his brother, and I got to be honest with you. If Lucia decides to come with us, which I hope she does, we're gonna need to be ready for it. So what aid can we get
from us? What you can get now is unfortunately not the thing that you might need most, which is manpower and allies. As you've seen around here, the people are not ready to fight. Lucia is the only one that is able to actively take the fight to them. What we can do is give you every support we can. We are going to go through, because you guys are still injured, like you're still recovering, just to let you guys know. We can give you aid to get you back up to full, to make you feel whole again, and maybe even help you heal past that to feel even stronger than before. We can give you the ability to improve yourselves a little bit while you are here. And of course, we will also be praying for you and praying to Apollo to watch over your journey, to have you be just as strong as the instruments of Apollo can be in this fight against the Valaclaci. And anything else that we can aid you with, we will do our best to.
Well, we'll definitely be taking you up on all of that, including, and this is where I'm going to need your help specifically. We're going to need Lucia on this fight, because the best part of the aid that you offered here is your greatest weapon, Lucia, and I trust her. I hate to have her turn her back and not join us on our journey, but we will take your aid and learning, which brings me to my next question in reference to Lucia. This is a question that only I believe you could answer based on the relationship you seem to have with her. How can I get her to stop hating me? And Silverback's a smile.
He also he was going to smile before you even started smiling. Once you and he goes, well, she's a different bird. She has grown up here without knowing her parents, and she's always been very reserved. She had taken to the god of Apollo and was taken by the god of Apollo very young at age, and she's taken, I believe she's taken this seriously to heart. So I don't believe that she hates you. She just might not approve of some things you do. But she stuck with you. She was by your side in a fight, no less, and that's something that tells me that she trusts in you in a way that she doesn't trust in others.
I lightly backhand Dallas's shoulder and go, "Told you." And
I was wrong sometimes. I'm sorry.
And finally, my third question, and this is the most important one. And he gets a very serious look on his face. While we recover, do you have any alcohol here?
Dallas kind of perks up with that one.
He looks at both of you solemnly and says, I promised I would do what I could to help you guys out. If that's what you require, you will have it. And then he gives you a big smile.
I knew I liked you, Andy. And that's my interaction with him. Unless Dallas has something.
I've got nothing.
Okay. All right, so we'll close down that scene there. Lucia, what's going on with her right now? She ran out of what I'm calling Anders' office, and she took off to she went back to the medical room that she was in earlier. So I'm just trying to catch up on what she's doing right now.
She probably would have actually, I guess I just don't know where this is, but she probably would have run to like a more private area somewhere she could maybe even hide while she thinks and has a good cry. Okay.
One moment. I will create that area for you because I didn't label things correctly. I didn't label anything.
You're telling me you did not create a cry sanctum?
Seriously?
Whoa. Okay.
So thoughtless.
What is this, your first time DMing?
Men. Unbelievable.
Rookie mistake.
So this is where I see Lucia going in this time. Oh, nope. No, stop creating lines. Stop.
Abort.
Okay, now it's not letting me click that line. Are you serious? Okay, whatever. There's a random line in there. So this is where I kind of imagine Lucia kind of going. This is the library. I just built up some random shelving units. So this is where a lot of the knowledge, a lot of the books. That's what I was thinking. That's kind of what I had this area built out for, but I didn't actually built out. So there's a little corner back here behind some of the books that are on these shelves here that you're able to go behind and like you said, have a good cry and work out whatever you got going on. And oh gosh dang it, you serious? Okay, yeah, so see, shelves. Those are all shelves. Bill won't let me get rid of this thing. Aha, take that. So is this something that she's going to do this for a couple hours? Is she going to be on her own for a couple days? Kind of what's her time frame here?
This is probably going to be like probably a couple hours.
Couple hours, okay. Because in my head, Ander would kind of know a decent way to, or at least he has an idea of how to.
He probably knows exactly where she's at.
Yes, and he knows how much time to give you, or how much time to give Lucia to let her kind of come back to reality, or know when it's his time to go talk to her. So I was just wanting to kind of see what the time frame would be. For a little bit here. So in between, while Lucia is off in the library, Silver and Dalhis, you guys were in the office still, and since he knows that he's got a little bit of time before he's going to go try and talk to Lucia and see what's going on with her, or at least he has an idea of what's going on, but he's going to let her have her time right now. He kind of lets you guys know, hey, so, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to be charging you any... we're not going to charge you for any of the healing or anything like that. We usually take donations for our healing services. You are friends and compatriots of Lucia. That's not happening. But we do ask that you try and help out in some ways. Once you're healed up enough, do not rush back. He just asks that you guys help out in some ways. And so through conversations and talking about like how you could help out, he learns that Dalhis is proficient with leatherworking, and he finds out Silver is proficient in smithing. Am I correct on that?
That is very correct.
So he gets a little flicker in his eyes as he hears that from both of you, and goes, "Well, that's really good because it so happens." Dun, da, da. He takes you over into here, and it's like a little workshop in here type area. Brian, you see a definite older version of, a worn down version of a forge and other things for blacksmithing. You can tell this thing has been, we'll say, well loved over the years. Okay. All the tools are kind of raggedy and whatnot, all still serviceable. Like you'd be able to do things. And then roughly the same type of thing for you, Dalhis, for
my tanning and stuff.
Yeah, for tanning, things like that. Things that it's definitely workable. Definitely not the newest thing on the market, though. This isn't. So he just asks that when you guys can to help out with any of the work that might be done in here, since he knows that you both are proficient. He goes, that'll be well payment enough. This is how we make our money when times are tough with followers coming in. And if there's not a lot of people coming through this road, coming from the south, going up to the bigger towns of, Araya and Davie and Nahi, when people are traveling from around here, because it is kind of a bad area, where there's a lot of monsters and a lot of force and a lot of things can happen, that you guys can just help out, because they'll go through and they'll repair other people's gear. They'll make some supplies for people to come through and buy. They help out with any of the materials for helping the healers do their work on people that come by and need healing and whatnot. So he just goes, hey, if you guys can just put in your time, that would be absolutely great. And he goes, and after a little bit, we'll even work something out where you'll be able to make some things and take them with you if you really want to. If you guys want to just take your time and just put in some work when you can, and then take the time off, like fully rest up, that's fine too. Just wanted to throw it out there. Any materials that aren't directly related to fixing are kind of put towards like, hey, we need to fix this thing, or any scrap materials and things like that. If you guys can use them for something else, be my guest. They're all yours.
Silver, at the sound of that, he would be borderline giddy with excitement to actually get back to it, because he really did like being a blacksmith quite a bit.
Okay. So he goes through. He introduces you to the current blacksmith, or the guy that's smithing here, the current leather worker. He introduces you to the people, to the girl and the guy that do them respectively, and then he takes off for a little bit. So now we'll go back to Lucia, and she's still in the library, and it's been a couple hours, and Ander comes in and finds Lucia in the spot he knew he would, behind the last bookshelf in the little corner. She's a small girl, a small area behind this bookshelf. She fits perfectly. So he goes down, and it's a little covered a little bit, so he kind of crouches down and looks right at her. And he kind of waits for her to kind of look up at him.
She kind of does that thing where she just kind of looks everywhere but him.
And with that, she doesn't notice it, but he smiles. Kind of, he gets a little emotional over the fact that she's back, and this is the little girl that he raised. And he does the first question that pretty much anybody would do in this situation. He goes, "All right, Lucia, what's wrong?"
She's kind of still looking away, like not quite catching his eye. Doesn't quite want to stare him in the face, and she says that she cannot believe that Apollo has been silent for so long.
He gives a solemn shake to his head. He says, "Lucia, while we haven't directly heard from Apollo in so long, he's still clearly talking to us. He's appointed you his next instrument, and from what we know, you are the only instrument of Apollo today. You are the only one alive. You, out of everyone in this world, was selected by Apollo himself to take up his mantle and fight. That tells me he's still alive. He's still there. We were worried. For hundreds of years, our order was worried that Apollo had gone. But you are living proof that Apollo is still here and he still is fighting."
Lucia looks down at the ground and she asks Ander a question she has never asked him before. She asks him, "Is this why my parents are dead?"
Ooh, that's a heavy one. That's not him talking, that's me talking. And in classic Ander fashion, he doesn't lie to Lucia. He looks right at her and says, "I do not know. I do not know if that is the path that you needed to take to become the instrument, or if that was something that forged you to where you're able to become the instrument that you need to be. I do not know that answer. Maybe that's something that we can go through and fight for and bring justice back, and we can ask Apollo himself."
She finally looks at him and asks him one final question. She asks him if he remembers the moment he knew she was the instrument of Apollo.
Ooh, good question. Good question. He looks at her and gives a slight little smile, a little twinge of the right side of his mouth, a classic little Ander smile, to almost like he knows something that he shouldn't, but not in a bad way, in a playful way. He gives that little crooked smile right to her and has a little bit lighter tone to his eyes, a little bit happier. He shakes his head and he goes, "I believe there was a moment. As you know, growing up, we do teach everyone to heal here. We teach how to use Apollo's power to try and heal. We use this in conjunction with normal medicines, as you know. And we also use any power that Apollo can bestow upon us. Though we believe that Apollo's healing comes directly from him, we're also not, or he says, I'm also not completely, I can't say for sure that I know without certainty that this isn't something that can't be just trained to everybody. But I believe it is something that Apollo does give. And we've had troubles the last couple hundred years, as we have said, with knowing that Apollo was there. And the magic seemed to be fading from us being able to heal. But then you came through. You were able to come here, and at a very young age, you were able to start healing those that none of us would have been able to heal as fast. You were able to bring them back up from deep within pain and despair and sickness, and within just a handful of days, you were able to bring them back to walking and back out on their feet and continuing on. And there was one particular man that came through. He came in and we could tell that he had ate something that was not, he ate something poisonous, and he was unable to really continue on. He was dragging when he came to us, begging for us to help out. And we knew that he had no donations to give us. But I also knew that was not going to stop you, Lucia. You were going to go through and do everything you could to heal this man, and bring him back. He was not going to make it through the night. We all knew it. I even thought, with you there, he was not going to make it through the night. But you were able to bring him back. And in one short week, he was off on his own, traveling back. He was traveling through from Nahi to Davy. And you were able to bring him all the way back. And that's the moment I knew that you were an instrument of Apollo.
She kind of makes like that thinking face, like trying to remember this specific instance, knowing that she's helped so many people. And she doesn't seem to she can't quite pinpoint this exact man, but she knows that Andrew's not going to lie to her. So she's assuming it's there somewhere in the list of people. And so she kind of gives just like the slightest little bit of a smile back at him and asks him, she kind of stands up and kind of gestures like, she's ready to leave the library. And as she's walking, she asks him what she should do.
He gives a solemn look to her. You can tell this is the part that he was afraid of. And he tells her, and they're starting to head out of the library now.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just start heading them this way. Just to let you guys know, the blue things are doors. That's the way I signaled door.
Yep, I got that.
As you guys are walking, he tells you the only thing that you can do now is take on the task that Apollo has given you. Apollo has brought you to these two others that gave us definitive proof that the Valaclaci are back and they're acting again. We are sworn to go through and protect the world against the Valaclaci. The only thing you can do is to follow Apollo, follow his light, and extinguish this darkness that is starting to plague us. If we didn't know, if we didn't have these two come through with you, it would have been too late. But now we know. Our early detection system, I don't have a good name for that, I'm sorry, has failed us. And that is one thing that we're going to have to try and do is figure out what happened to that. But for right now, what you need to do is you and your two companions need to fully heal up and get ready, because I feel like you guys have a long road ahead of you. And he brings in Lucia to a comforting side hug as they're walking down the corridor here. Oh gosh, you guys are on top of each other. Well, you guys are in the corridor together next to each other, even though it's only 5 foot across. I didn't plan this out. Shut up. I need an adult.
She mumbles something about how she'll be away for a very long time.
He sighs, and it's becoming more apparent that he's having a super hard time with this as well. And he shakes his head and says, yeah, I think that's what is going to happen. You're going to be away for a long time. I won't be able to be there to help you out when you guys are far away, completing whatever task Apollo has set before you to save this world. But know that you can come back at any time that you need to, and we'll be here with open doors for you and any friends that you have.
She kind of looks at him, and like this very tiny, very childish moment, she asks, do you think I can do it? And
this is when they kind of get to this door here before they enter into the main area, and he turns to her and faces her and says, Lucia, I believe that you're the only one that can do this. And he says it in such a way, that you can tell this isn't a warning. This isn't, this is him brimming with confidence in you. And to a point, it can't help but seep to you and feel proud that this is the father figure that you've had your whole life, and he is turning to you and telling you that this is him basically telling you he believes in you more than anything else he's ever believed in. So this is something that his confidence in you just makes you feel all that much better.
All right, and then she kind of whispers, "And my companions?"
He smiles and says, "I think that they're the ones that are going to help you on this journey. They're both deeply connected with this as well. And I feel like you're going to find out how deep these connections go as you go. They seem rough, but I can tell with the conversation that I had with them that they care for you and they want to make sure that you get out alive and that they find just as much companionship with you as many of the other followers of Apollo in this church have found with you over the years. You can trust them. I trust them."
She kind of like giggles and she's like, "They did get me in jail."
You hear in the distance Silver yelling a curse word because he hit his thumb with a hammer. Son of a bitch! He was out of practice.
Lucia rolls her eyes.
He gives a smile, hearing the background noise and hearing Lucia's her talk about going into prison. He goes, "You know what? I really don't know how Apollo plans these things out, but he must have a great plan for you guys, as maybe he knew that was the only way you all were going to get together to go through and take this fight on." He goes, I still think they're good guys overall." And gives a smile and a good wink.
She responds, "They drink a lot."
He goes, "Yes, I've noticed. What little we had on hand, I have already given to them, and I'm not sure if it still exists. But as I said, as long as their heart is in the right spot and their actions show that they are good men willing to defend any injustice going on in this world as Apollo would, I can't fault them. But, if you don't feel like drinking, you don't need to. They seem like they have fun on their own."
Did you say that in a total dad voice? Because I totally pictured that.
Yeah, it's pretty dad voice. You're definitely getting what he's saying is, like, you don't have to do it. Like, you don't need to do it if you don't want to. But he's not saying, like, don't do it. You definitely picked up. He didn't say don't do it. He just said you don't feel like you need to be pressured into it.
Don't give in to peer pressure.
You don't need to do it if you don't want to. It's not that big of a deal. And like he said, they seem like they'll have fun on their own regardless.
All right, buddy. How's that thumb doing?
Silver, you hear Silver. Son of a bitch! Quick, get the boots. No.
Did Lucia have any other questions or anything else? Oh no.
Uh-oh.
I have no idea what happened.
You just got disconnected like 6 times.
It just like
let's
dropped.
do a clap real quick. 3, 2, 1, clap. Okay. So that's the clap. Should we stop and make another segment, Burke?
Up to you. You're editing.
Yeah, I am editing. Let's just continue on. We're only 15 minutes away, and it seems kind of stupid to make another. Like if it was like half hour, then I would say yes. But okay. So let's add another.
All right, Lucy is done.
I was just about to...
making jibes at her companions.
That's what I was asking, was if that was the final thing. So okay, that kind of brings us to the end of story time in my head, unless if there's any other questions that have come by, but it seems like so far that
where do babies come from?
A lot of you guys are you've gotten
where else?
You guys have gotten your.
I thought this was a trick question. Sorry, it took me so long.
Silver's beer shoots out of his nose.
So
Can we please make that a real interaction?
I'm all right with that.
I think it should be.
Like Dumbledore asked, so there are any more questions? And Silver just sarcastically, where do babies come from? I love it. I'm sorry, go ahead, Craig. I interrupted.
I was just, it's not the button I wanted. I was just saying, okay, well, it's kind of the end of story time. You guys know that you have the ability to go through, and you're going to be this isn't the right term. It's not working off your debt, but you're helping out around the house basically to earn your keep here for the healing that they're doing, and bring you back up to health. As he said before, you are able to be healed back up, and they did so well healing you this particular time that all of you went up to level 2. If you didn't pick up on me saying, or what I was trying to say with that earlier. So you guys are all level 2 now. So you guys are level 2. Now you guys have a little bit of time based on what they need to do for you guys to be fully healthy. You guys have a couple weeks here that you're able to get healthy, do a little bit of work for them, bring yourself all the way back up. So if you guys have any downtime activities that you're wanting to try and accomplish, or things that you're wanting to do while you're here, like I said, there's the ability to do some leather working for Dalhis. There's a little ability to do some blacksmithing for Silver. Lucia, you've got the whole of the library open to you as well if you're wanting to do research. If you're wanting to ask...
She doesn't have this library memorized.
Not yet, but you have a lot more questions now. There's a lot of information brought up. And you're able to also, in the research, I'm going to say that you're able to try and draw from Anders' knowledge base, because obviously he knows a lot more, and there's got to be these records and things like that.
You got access to his personal library. Now you're going to be able to
talk to him, try and see what he'll let you kind of play with, and see what books that he might have that aren't in the standard library, maybe in his own personal collection, or they're in the church's private collection that you didn't know about before, things of that nature. So if you guys just want to go through and actually just roll me an initiative real quick, all three of you. Okay. Hold on, let me clear out the turn list. Okay, go ahead and do it.
Woo, baby!
Wasting them good rolls.
Hey, this is.
Oh wait, mine didn't
my
go
good
through.
rolls are very specific. When it's not important, they win every time.
Okay, so
it didn't load for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe I was messing with it.
Yeah.
We can go. Oh my God, Lucia, where are you going? She's running away.
Oh God, what happened?
She morphed through
Get back
walls.
there.
I want to put her up here.
Andrew's like, she's a ghost.
Okay, so he's going to go to his study now for a little bit here.
Did my initiative show up for you guys? Because it's saying I don't have a valid token.
Yeah, things got all messed.
I see it.
Yeah, things got messed up on Mountain Dew. So what I'm going to doing is it's Silver, Lucia, and then Dalhis. So Silver, what are you wanting to accomplish for the next couple of healing weeks?
Okay, so his routine is going to be pretty focused, so to speak.
He's going to get up, eat breakfast, and watch YouTube.
Yep, exactly. No, that's my life. That's not his. This guy's got shit to do. So he's going to get he's basically going to number one, he wants to work on his metalworking and forging skill.
Yep.
Because he, it's borderline therapeutic, but it's also good for physical body as well. So he's going to want to work on that, and specifically, he'll do the repairs that the people are asking for, that they need for them, but he'll also be kind of fiddling with and trying to learn how to maybe increase the armors for the group rather than focusing on offensive weaponry at this point. So that he'll do that for part of his day. I don't know how much time that eats up out of the day. I know we kind of looked a little bit there.
The thing with this crafting usually. We had talked before, crafting is an 8-hour-a-day thing if you're wanting to put in 5 gold pieces worth of effort per day. But
I like him to maximize that as best as possible.
What end up happening, in my opinion, is it probably averages out to maybe more about 4 hours per day because the other time you are working for the church, trying to help out any of the travelers that are coming through and things like that. So maybe some days a little more, some days a little less, but I would say about half your day you're able to put forth effort for the church, and then the rest of it you're able to keep for yourself. So I'll just say 4 hours a day while you're here, you guys are able to put down into put down into your own timing here. Lucia is actually the only one that has a little bit different of a time frame, but we'll get to that later. Silver. So if he's doing that, like what are some of the goals that you're wanting to accomplish? What are the things you're trying to do? Or if you want to ask me questions, definitely. I'm like, okay, is this possible? Is this possible?
Yeah. Okay. So, so when it comes to making items, like basically he's basically wanting to improve his craft, because at this point he kind of has the realization that like how I envisioned this as we've been going is that when Lucia says, oh man, we're to get stocked up, and like she really had Silver hyped on the idea of like this, that her place was going to basically, you know, give them all the stuff that they would need and be like having like borderline an army. Now he kind of realizes that it's 3 on the world. So he would be very mindset focused on how can he improve their situation. And of course, after being knocked down not once but twice in his, as far as in the fights are concerned, he'd be wanting to make the best armors possible that he could make given his circumstances. So he's a level 2, so he can't really be making any magical items at this point, most likely. Maybe he could. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are in your world on that.
Yeah, no, he's not going to be able to do too much magic stuff.
I didn't think so.
I'm going to try as much as possible in my world to stick to the standardized rules, just so if you guys read through things, you guys come up with things, it's easy enough. But that will be one of the ones I'll say, there's the different, the DMG has it where it's like 3rd levels when you can start making spells, and then that's for like uncommon items, right? Something along those lines. So we'll kind of
it is 3rd level.
Kind of stick along that similar path,
right? And so what I would the most logical thing to do is this, because he's already wearing the studded leather armor, which is like one of the best ones that he could get for his own personal wearing. He'd look to his other party members who and try to build stuff for them. So specifically, since Dalhis doesn't really wear armor, he'd turn to Lucia and try to craft whatever the best armor that he could make for her, given her like whatever she can carry. And I'm sure that they'd have a conversation about that before he actually did it, and I don't know what her character can wear, if it's light, medium, or heavy armor, or how that works. I can
actually wear anything because of my domains and stuff. So
okay, heavy armor I know takes a long time to make, so I probably wouldn't be able to pull that off, but would there be a medium armor that he would be able to try to work on?
I am wearing medium hide armor, so I don't know that you could make anything better than that at this time.
I don't know. That's what I'm asking rather than telling at that point, because when you basically, he'd be going for that kind of thing, and anything that anything else that he could make in the meantime to sell for the future use, he'd be doing that too.
You could make a chain shirt, a scale mail. It's kind of weird coming from Dalhis.
What? I mean, I don't know like what actual capability though.
145.
145 in the player's manual, right?
Yeah. Probably you could make those two: chain or scale. Maybe just chain.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably not scale, to be honest.
That doesn't sound really metal.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, it's technically that would be of leather coverings with overlapping pieces of metal. So that would be something that he would have to work on with someone else, like his, for the leather work. So you and I would have to work together to make something like that. But it would be like the only thing we would be able to make in like the whole time we were there, basically.
Which one?
You're talking about you're
chain?
Talking about. Yeah, for that chain, the scale mail consists of it's basically a leather. It's leather covered with metal. So you and I would have to basically pool resources and do that one. But that would be up to make a scale armor. But that would be pretty damn tough to do that. I don't even know if we'd be able to pull that off, to be frank.
So what it would end up being is you get 5 gold pieces per day worth of effort you're able to put into it.
Right.
And the scale mail is 50 gold pieces, but you guys are only working half days, but there's 2 of you, so it brings it back up to 5 gold pieces worth of effort. So in 10 days, you could go through and create some scale mail for Lucia to wear. So that would increase her AC by 2.
And is that something that we are capable of, I guess, or let's put it that way, or if we're just simply inexperienced enough and not
keep in mind it's pretty heavy. It weighs more than it weighs like half as much as she does, basically.
Well, then if she's
not, also would give disadvantage to stealth.
Gotcha.
We can do a chain shirt.
Yeah, why don't I try that then? I'd like to try to make the chain shirt for her then, because at this point I want to build up our defense rather than offense, because I get a furred.
Okay. So I'll end up giving you the same. I'll say that the other blacksmith, he's able to come over and help you out at times. Dalhis is able to throw in some time with you, even though he's not proficient with blacksmithing. He's able to help out in some ways because he's kind of a craftsman in his own right. So if you wanted to have it that way, you can still make it to where it's 5 gold pieces of effort a day. On this, I won't give you the half day penalty, because I'll say that you're able to kind of pick up some other things along the way on that.
Okay.
So again, it ended up taking you about 10 days worth of time to pull that together.
That's what you said. It was about a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, you guys have a couple weeks. Really, in my head, that after about two and a half weeks is when you guys feel like you would be fully able to like get out and like, hey, let's get going. But it's really up to you. You don't have to leave that quick. You guys have some things that you're wanting to do. Lucia's researching. You guys are prepping. You guys have all, like you said, Silver's already going like, shit, it's us against the world. Like, rushing out into this, probably not a great idea. Not like kicking down the door when you guys are all hurt. We're like, okay, we got to go do this. You know what you went through when you were there, Silver, when you were with the villain Jossie there. Like, you know how tough this is going to be on its own. And now you're knowing there's the originator here. There's a god backing all of this. And now it kind of all clicks into place. Yeah. You know, you guys need to prep. And if you guys need to take time to prep, you're not against the idea of taking time to prep.
No, and that's fine. But at the same time, I know we are working sort of against a timetable with the ruins to the north being. They said that other parties are going to go in and try to raid it. You know, that was a factor a little bit. So I'm not saying that we're trying to rush it, but, you know, just keeping it. We're not like we spent 8 years at the Covenant. You know what I mean? Like,
that'll be,
like, you know, because
that'll be a question here. We'll skip off of you just for a second, and I want to ask Lucia: is there something specific that she's doing during this downtime?
So after she kind of gets over the emotional part of it, she realizes like she grew up hearing about Apollo and Artemis, like they're the twins, and then to hear that those stories are kind of made up, she's going to try to research for the real stories.
Okay.
So she's specifically going to look for references to maybe some symbol of Sithrai, like that she could recognize somewhere. She's going to look for books that talk about him, again, like to replace the stories of Artemis that like she now knows are not real. And she's also going to look for older stories where Apollo is actually interacting directly with people to kind of see, like, get a feel for what he actually does when he does do that.
Okay. Do you have any questions for Ander in any way? Is there things that you're going to try and anything specific that you're getting out of him?
She will probably specifically ask like those 3 things to him first, to see if he can even just tell her, and if he can't, she's going to ask him if he has any books that will.
Okay. Okay. Let me get back to you on that portion.
No problem.
Would she, and tell me honestly, would she ask him or look around for any information on this place to the north? Because you know it's kind of nearby. since the last time.
And then I'm sorry, after story time I completely forgot about
that's
all
why
this.
I wanted to bring it back just in case, because this is something that I'm assuming you three have sat down and talked. Brian had already, or Silver had just brought it back up a second ago, going, hey, we know that we're trying to stock up to go to this place up north just to get some money, so that we can
we'll get money in rare
stuff
items
like that.
So supposedly there.
Yeah, so she's also going to ask him about that place, and again, if not, ask if there's any books that might reference what appear to be old ruins.
Okay, cool. So that's what I was wanting to get there, because I think it kind of ties to Silver's questions that he had right now, or what he was wanting to do through the conversations that you've had with Ander, things that you're finding in the book. This place to the north sounds like the real fucking deal of bad shit has happened historically over and over again, and no one's there's stories of people's takes on what's on the inside of this, but no one's actually confirmed that any of these people have been inside of there. But everything has been decently frightful of what the hell's gone down into that into the ruins in the north, to the point where Lucia, you can tell Anders, he seems like he was like, I don't know, that seems like it's a pretty rough area up there. I feel like I'd stay away for a little bit and maybe make sure that you guys know your fighting prowess first before you go into this place. It sounds like there's a lot of bad things. If the rumors are true, there's a lot of bad things up there. And you're able to go through shit. I don't have this pulled up. Here it is.
Lucy is that annoying child that's like, why?
And going through and having questions about this, you've heard that there's certain people that have talked about did you hear about this? Demons guard that place. There's demons. I'd stay away from there. And you hear another guy, old crazy Larry over in the corner. He's like, nope, a mummy guards it. It's just a mummy. A mummy guards that place. That makes sure nobody comes in and gets the hidden treasure that's in there. And then in one of the books that you read, that you're not sure if it's fiction or not, Lucia, that it's that you.
Yeah, she has this sudden kind of slight distrust of books that makes her really uncomfortable.
So she reads it. She doesn't know if it's a fiction or not, but it talks about how something very close to the description of what these ruins you've heard from other people and other books and other places and everything that you've heard before kind of describes these ruins, but it talks about a werewolf being there. So there's 3 different things that you're like, okay, I don't want to fuck with that. I don't want to fuck with that. And I don't want to fuck with that. So it sounds like it's if all these are true, you're kind of like, those are kind of a scary place.
I'm assuming she'd relay this to Silver as well.
Every time she hears something different, she's just she's not really saying what people are saying, but she just every day she's kind of frustrated and she's like, it's something different every time. Kind of just freaking out, how is there not one truth?
Gotcha. And I guess because of that, Silver wouldn't be in as big of a rush, so he'd be more inclined to suggest doing a test run, meaning let him and Dalhis build as much stuff as we can, and then for us to go into the woods and do a fight with all of our new equipment to make sure it all works before we dared venture out into something as dangerous as what could be out there. So, which would push our timetable back more than 2 weeks. Because if
does Lucia know at this point? I forget. Are you telling her that you made this armor, or is this a secret thing?
No. He would have told her, or asked her about it directly at first, saying, first off, do you want this? Second of all, I think you should have this. Fourth of all,
I was gonna say,
because
if he was like, do you want this? She's gonna be like, no, make stuff for yourself.
And then I'm gonna say, all right, you're getting this. Then he would insist. It's even without he would ask her initially because he was gonna try to he'd try to make it fit to her, but if she said or if she was kind of about it, he would still make it anyway because he's tired of getting party wiped. And the other thing I was going to say is, so if I'm making that one piece of armor for her, that's the best thing I can make for her. Is there anything I could make weapon wise? And I was just kind of looking at it here that anybody could use that we don't have. For example, since Burke, where you use what's your weapon called, Burke?
Come on,
It's a come on. Well, shit. I'm just gonna go. So I have a question.
You go.
It's like I'm just gonna make my initiative turn. And okay, so Silver.
Yes.
I have these beautiful weapons we use for farming tools in my village.
You've been fighting with a crop tool?
Basically, I've weaponized them. They're sharper. But yes, I was wondering if we could pool our resources, attach this to, say, a quarterstaff kind of thing, and make it kind of like Darth Maul's double lightsabers. You know what I'm saying? Because we all know who Darth Maul is.
Ah, yes, Lord Maul. He was one of the fiercest of all the knights.
Exactly. You've seen his swords.
Of course, they're infamous
He's one
in
of
these
those
parts.
guys that's definitely been replaced.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a dead god.
It's a. Upon hearing this, Silver gives him a big high five and says, "You got it, buddy."
And I was thinking, all right, out of character, talking to the DM, probably using changing the damage to like be like a pole arms damage, but with slashing instead of bludgeoning.
Okay, so what exactly is on the ends of these? I want to make sure I fully understand.
It's basically you're attaching my kamaz, which are like, you know, like the sickle like things, to a pole and making it like a pole arm.
The way I'm picturing is that it looks like Death's scythe.
Yeah, but
double-sided.
But double-sided.
Oh, shit.
Just because why not?
As long as we can go through and so we're permanently attaching these things, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that will bring you down to, in my head, that brings you down to one attack. I know we discussed last time with your dual wielding kamaz.
I've only been, it's a simple weapon still. That's what I'm going for. It's a simple weapon. It's just a pole arm or it's like a halberd.
Isn't it two-handed
No.
at that point?
I could only put, I don't know. Not making it like super long, like pretty short still. I don't know.
Like basically you're fusing the handles together a little bit almost.
Okay, so it's just that's the length. So you're talking like
yeah.
Oh, it's not like 6 feet long where you can just.
I was thinking like
Maybe,
Darth Maul's full on lightsaber and then attach the blades on the top.
Oh,
like
no,
where the
not
thing
like,
is probably 6 feet. And I was like, we got to make sure the range somehow stays the same.
no. Keep the range the same. Like keep it like as tall as me. Like it's not
7'4".
Well, it's like, sure, okay, whatever. I'm tall. It's like the normal length of a pole arm, or a quarterstaff, whatever you want to call it.
Okay,
right.
And so just imagine the blades coming out of the end of it, basically.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
So and it would slash instead of bludgeon. You said,
yeah, that's
or whatever.
Yeah, it takes the damage roll of the pole arm, but makes it slashing damage since it has a blade on the end.
What page is the pole arm on?
Weapons. That's page 150. Yeah, 150, or it's a quarterstaff.
150.
It's a quarterstaff. Okay,
quarterstaff.
I'll say because I've got a breakdown like in my binder with all my information. I was like, I can't find pole arm, so I was just making sure that I wasn't missing it. You know what? I like the creativity. I'll go with it.
I was gonna say it doesn't sound unreasonable this way.
No, I mean you're basically getting the same. You're getting everything that a quarterstaff gets out of it, basically. But so you're basically going to have a 4-pound slashing damage quarterstaff, right?
I don't know if the 525-pound dragon can handle a 4-pound weapon.
Yeah, this might be over encumbered.
It might take you way too long to build.
Abilities.
Way too long to build. It's 2 silver pieces.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, you're putting sickles on both ends, so
I'll say it took you 1 day to figure this out.
Okay. Okay, there you go.
This is like, I got a real brain buster for you, Silver. He's like, okay.
Is this basically just going to be that like a wood base to it, right?
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, and just have him tend to the sickles to make sure they're sharp and everything.
Yeah,
I do have plenty of whetstone,
and probably some metal shit to attach the two.
Right. Obviously, that's why he's the leather worker's doing it. It's not just leathered together like
and
wrapped.
and then of course I wrap everything in leather. And
you're gonna wrap it too.
All,
I'll give you quarterstaff. I'll say that you're proficient with this weapon.
Yeah.
I'll give you that that you're proficient with it. And I'll give you basically everything that you had with the Kamaz. I would just say I would limit are you all right with being limited to one attack with it? So it's not like you can slice once and then turn and slice again.
Like
on the same thing.
That can't happen. Yeah, that would be 2 attacks, but I still get my bonus.
You still get your bonus. That's fine.
Yeah,
you still get your bonus.
What I'm saying. Yeah,
I'll say that you're able to one hand wield this. That'll make this an interesting dragon monk with a random Darth Maul sigh. I mean, if you walk the right way with the right robes on, dude, you're death walking around with a sickle.
I maybe had that visualized.
He just says,
Yeah. All right. I'll give it to you. That just sounds like fun. Hopefully it's not game breaking and I hate you later and you all of a sudden it gets lost in a river.
I don't think so.
He's lost in a river.
It's the one ring to rule them all.
Right. But actually that brings up an interesting point. And this is something that I would ask. That's fantastic. I would. Does Lucia have a weapon like that she could have or could like? I know she has a crossbow.
A crossbow and a mace.
She has a mace. Interesting. Yes. Okay. Is there anything I can do to the mace? Like I can't make improve. I can't like. At this point, I can't exactly make them like amazing or anything, but
all right. So we haven't actually like used it in battle, but I'm gonna say over the course of our journey, she's made it very obvious that she does not like the mace.
Okay.
She does not seem comfortable with it. Doesn't like to use it. Kind of. She might have pulled it out once to like hit something, and it's kind of like, oh god. I'm gonna say she has this weapon, but she does not like it, and she actually kind of looks terrified when she uses it.
Well, is there a simple melee weapon, which I'm assuming is what you can use, that she would prefer over a mace? Because that'd be in my wheelhouse. I can't do the special what are they called? Shoot, what's the advanced melee weapons called? Like a flail and stuff. Like they have a special name for that category, but whatever. But is there any of the simple melee weapons that she would be interested in?
That's a good question.
Okay, well, how about we take a look at that and then we'll let everybody know later.
Is there any other things you guys want to jump into real quick?
Oh, I just want to make sure that my character finally finishes that stupid magic book. Does he? I want him to read the entire thing, and then you tell me if he realizes that it's bullshit.
And that is where we'll come back for next time.
Oh, son of a bitch.